Since the pandemic, the guidance has always been to isolate if you've tested positive for COVID-19. Now, the state has updated that guidance. People no longer have to isolate and could return to school or work if they are asymptomatic.
I find it a little frustrating.
Rebecca Fielding-Miller is an epidemiologist at UC San Diego. She says while COVID cases are no longer overwhelming the healthcare system, COVID is still a very infectious disease.
I think one thing that's really important to remember about this virus is it has a really impressive ability to mutate. And so we've seen that people can get infected over and over and over again.
Fielding-Miller says vaccination rates are also low, especially among children. Only about 5% of children under 12 years old have the latest booster, she says. Despite that, some school districts are starting to adopt the state's guidance. In an email to parents, San Diego Unified School District, the largest in the county, says starting Tuesday, people who have tested positive but do not have symptoms may stay at school or work, and that students and staff do not need to stay home for 5 days or longer if they are feeling better and have been fever-free for 24 hours. Fielding-Miller says while children don't get as sick from the virus, the same can't be said for their parents and grandparents.
What does this mean for kids who might be vulnerable themselves? What does this mean for kids who live with family members who are vulnerable? Does this make schools a less accessible and a less welcoming space?
The new guidance does not affect healthcare workers, especially those in hospital settings. They're still expected to stay home for at least 5 days or until they have a negative COVID test. Unlike the state, the CDC still recommends that people isolate for 5 days after testing positive for COVID, regardless of symptoms. According to the CDC, the first 5 days are the most infectious period. Fielding-Miller says people should follow that advice and mask up, considering the uptick in COVID hospitalization and cases in San Diego. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.